Hello, it's Oren Prunken. Today, I want to talk to you about how you can make prospects problem aware. So one of the very first stages of a customer journey is actually making a prospect aware that they have a problem, or allowing prospects enough space to become self-aware that they actually have a problem, so then they go and then try to find solutions to that, and then ideally your solution to that problem, and then thus become a customer and purchase. Now, I need to give you a bit of a story. I've got a friend who works in the healthcare industry. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details. They are an Australian. They've gone overseas to work in the healthcare industry, and I think from everything that I know and everything they've told me about the Australian healthcare system, on the whole, they do things really well, and they've got the best practice, for the amount of research that humans have done in healthcare. And I am not qualified, but everything I understand, it seems like we do things really well, even though, of course, there's going to be things that we don't do that well either. But on the whole, we've got things down pat really well. Now, I've gone to this other country, and things aren't quite the same as, Western healthcare. Now, it's a case that maybe some of those people in those countries don't care, but I think it's a lot of the reason they don't have that best practice is they just don't know, right? And this friend wanted to educate some of those healthcare workers on best practice that they've found through the West and within Australia of what works. Now, the thing that happens in general, and I found this a lot, and you probably will have found this many times, but especially for them, they found that telling people off, scolding them, or just telling them blatantly what to do doesn't work. And I'm going to give you just a bit of an exception to that rule, but you just can't go around telling people what to do, and they found that just didn't work. You can't say, this is the best practice we've found. People tend to go, yeah, you're as a foreigner, you have no idea about the culture and about the system in place here, and they just ignore it. You think about, parents telling kids things to do, kids just going to do what they do anyway. So this is a phenomenon that just goes across human behavior. Now, how do you get people to become problem aware when we have this phenomenon? You can't just tell people or scold people, especially on what you would like to do. And this is very essential and especially important for sales. You can't just tell people that you have a problem or here's a solution, go buy it. You need to be able to persuade them, convince them in another way. Now, I'm going to give you the exception to the rule to start with, but I'm going to give you two other tools that work especially well. So I did say you can't just tell people or scold people. The one exception to that rule is when they understand, the prospect or anyone that you're trying to convince, they understand the consequence of what they're doing. Now, I have to give you an example to illustrate this. Let's say you are at a party and a social gathering, and most people, in general, 99.9% of people want to fit in and be socially accepted in a party. Now, that's what they want, and they know certain things that they do, I'll give you the example shortly, that they do will not make them socially acceptable. So now, if you're walking around a party and you've been eating the snacks and nibbles and so on, you may have got some of that food stuck in your teeth. Now, 99.9% of people understand that if you walk around with food in your teeth, that's not really socially acceptable, and people may look down on you. Same if you go to the toilet there and you get some toilet paper stuck on your shoe and you're walking around with toilet paper. This is the example. Obviously, you need to extrapolate to any other situation where someone understands that the consequence of walking around with toilet paper on your shoe or food in your teeth is not socially acceptable, and you don't actually need to convince them of the answer. You just need to make them become aware that they have that problem, and they will fill in the gap. Only exception that this is going to work. Now, the other two ways you can get people to become aware of the problem, where you're not telling people or not scolding people, is what I like to call planting seeds of doubt. You go out and you plant a seed, and then that seed grows obviously into something. Now, if you plant a seed of doubt, you're planting something that's going to grow, and they are going to question what they have been doing in life up until that point, and they will draw the conclusion, not you. And that's the most important thing. When you tell someone what to do or scold them, you are giving them the conclusion. A seed of doubt, on the other hand, when you plant that in their mind, They are the ones that are coming up with the conclusion, not you. You are just getting the thought process in train. Now, there's many ways you can just plant seeds of doubt. So I'm just going to give you some really simple ones. Is, you know, within the healthcare space that my friend's working in, you could just say something along the lines of, do you think that's the best way to get this outcome? Or do you think the way you're doing this is the best way? Or do you think there is a better way that you could be doing this? Now, questions like that open up the seed of doubt to grow in someone's mind without actually telling them what they're doing is not working. You could come out and say that, that's the conclusion you want them to say, but you want to plant a seed of doubt where there is a 1% chance in their mind what they are doing could be incorrect, and you want them to sit on that and analyze everything they're doing, their thoughts and their actions, to see if it's congruent. And most of the times people come to the right conclusion that you want to. Most people are pretty smart when left to their own devices. Now, the longer version of planting a seed of doubt is actually through story and storytelling. Now, it has the same impact, stories and storytelling. Now, instead of just asking a question, a story actually brings them through your journey, and you actually implant your journey or your conclusion that you came to through a story to them. And that is a really easy way for you to convince people through a seed of doubt. You start by telling someone where you're at and what you wanted to go achieve, which is probably the same thing that they wanted to go achieve. And then you go through all of the hurdles that you hit and the new insights that you came to based on those hurdles, and then the plan of action that you took, and then the results that you got. And doing that, showing that journey that you've been through to get the different outcome that you wanted, ideally follows the journey that you want them to take, and just showing them through your journey that you took a different way actually plants the seed of doubt without even asking a question. Now, you can't do that in all situations. Sometimes you don't have the opportunity with prospects to go and talk to them and talk through a story with a really strong amount of time. Sometimes you only just have a short amount of attention that you can just ask a question, a rhetorical question that plants a seed of doubt in their mind, or you can do a combination of both. Or, like I said, in the very rare instance they understand the consequence of what they're doing, you don't need to spell it out for them. It's just making them become aware that they have a problem by pointing out something that they're going to draw their own conclusion, because they've already drawn the conclusion in their mind. They don't need the seed of doubt, and that is the analogy of having food in their teeth or walking around with toilet paper on their shoe. Everyone else can see that they have a problem, they just can't see that they've got a problem. But once they know that they've got a problem, they do not need to be convinced. They've already been convinced in the past that it's socially unacceptable or whatever to have that going on for them. So hopefully this is useful in you, for you in helping your prospects become problem aware, so they can go down that customer journey to become solution aware, and then product aware, and then most aware. And ideally become a customer and a repeat customer of your business. Try this out. Let me know how you go. Love hearing feedback from people. And until we talk next time, I hope you have a fantastic day, and goodbye.
Thanks for listening. And if you like what was on here and want more, please go to orenprunken.com.